Hi, Sergeant. It's good to talk with you.
Yeah, what can I do for you?
Well, you've probably spoken to Officer Schultz, and I'm calling because we are wanting to make a complaint of a terroristic threat against our organization, and I'm hoping that you can help us with that.
Okay, what is your organization?
It's called Indivisible Douglas County, and we are nonviolent, peaceful demonstrators. And I've been in contact with the chief about this, and he was very supportive of our June 14th event. He was there and helped us get a coal roller, we were so grateful for the entire Roseburg Police Department's assistance that day. It was wonderful. But we had a couple of really disturbing things happen this past Saturday, one of which I just became aware of today. And it was that one of the coal rollers, who we even have video and license plate information, but we were told there's nothing you can do. Fine. But this person repeatedly drove by projecting the sound of automatic gunfire. And we are largely made up of elderly people, of veterans, some who are disabled on oxygen. We had people thinking there was an active shooter situation, people diving for the ground, running for cover, screaming in terror because this person was projecting at a very loud volume the sound of automatic gunfire. Now, I have done some research, and according to the Oregon code, um, making a terroristic threat, which is a Class C felony, is defined by the following: intentionally causing fear or terror in another person by conveying a threat to cause unlawful, serious physical injury or death to two or more persons, one of whom is the other person, in a public place. And I will repeat that we had people who took this to be an active shooter situation. They were terrorized. We had people clutching their hearts afterward. We thought people were having heart attacks. This was an act of terror. And I want to know why Officer Schultz was so completely dismissive, that no, we weren't being terrorized, that no, the sound of automatic gunfire being played at us from a passing pickup truck, that we're supposed to know that that's not real. And I also want to say, if one of our members who is armed were to return fire to the sound of automatic weaponry, I mean, that would be a worst case scenario for everyone. I think this is
Well,
incredibly
I
dangerous. And
I think a couple things. So we're getting into a different topic, so I want to address the first one first. Is that okay?
that's great. Go ahead.
Okay. So what is not in the terroristic threat ORS that you just read is the definition of a threat. So what you have is causing public alarm, which would be a disorderly conduct. Um, so to fit the threat portion, there's several other factors that have to be met. It's similar to, I don't know if you're familiar with much of many other ORSs, but like say menacing, where menacing is intentionally trying to place someone in imminent fear um, by word or conduct, right?
Would
And
would
say
would this fit menacing then?
no, because there's several factors that we look at to fit, and one of those is like say if someone came at you with a knife or like held a knife up above their head and said, "I'm gonna kill you" or "I'm gonna stab you." Those are specific threats,
So the
right? And
sound
then
of
do they have
automatic
well,
no,
hear me out for a second. Hear me out for a second. The intent means an opportunity. If those things are there and they fit what physically happened, then yes, that would fit a menacing. But like basically what he did would more or less be disorderly conduct, and that would be causing public alarm by the same word or conduct or whatever.
so it's not menacing even though he's driving by slowly projecting the sound of automatic weapons automatic gunfire, and we have people ducking for cover, running for their lives because we don't see a gun, it's not menacing? Do we have to wait until he brandishes a rifle before it becomes menacing?
No, not necessarily. And depending on the situation itself, it could not. The other part is, maybe it vaguely or may stretch to reach that level of crime. We have to use reason as well. Do you want to charge someone with a felony because they drove by playing the sound of gunfire?
Yes, I do, actually.
Crime?
I do. In America today, when we are standing out there thinking that people might take shots at us at any time, and someone rolls by and pretends to be an active shooter, yes, I do want to press charges against that person. You bet. Where is the deterrent factor?
So you may not, but you weren't the person there. And how come? And
I was there. I just was at a different part. And the fact that it's delayed is because our group is very large, and we had our after action meeting today, and I am the safety lead. And I did not know of it because I was in a different part. But I don't think this is where you want to blame the victim.
I'm not blaming the victim. I'm telling you that we have to fit ORS to be able to act on and enforce a crime. And, if anything, I would say we could maybe look at it and say, could this be a disorderly conduct? It's possible.
Okay. How do we go about doing that?
Well, I don't know what sort of evidence you have. You said there's video and you have license plates and things like that.
And I have many, many people willing to testify.
And who has the video?
I don't know that we have video of him rolling coal. As far as the video of the gunfire, I'll have to see if we have actual video of that. But we have probably 24 people who are willing to testify to the action.
Right. But the problem with that becomes is you guys aren't all independent. You're all one group. And so if there was I'm not discounting or saying that they're lying, but to be able to prove this something beyond a reasonable doubt, that's why we interview people separately so they can't get their stories right?
That's great. I'll give you a list of people that you can interview separately. Like I just said, No, we haven't. Right? No, we haven't, because I just found out about it today. So I don't even know who all was affected by it. So no, we haven't met and gotten some story straight. I just found out about it today, and I'm incensed.
You're acting like I'm coming at you, accusing you of lying. I'm trying to explain.
Well, that's what it feels like.
Well, you don't let me talk either.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I was explaining the reason we do that is it helps to have individual, separate, unrelated witness accounts, and nobody else called in, right? You guys didn't even call in. And so that makes it difficult as far as credibility in a courtroom setting. Like if you and your best friend come up or there together and have the same story, but if you and your best friend are there and have the same story, and then an independent witness.
Okay, I just want to interject that you think we all know each other. We don't. I'm standing here with my mother, who witnessed it. She was standing next to a woman she had never met, and that woman was the one who clutched her heart. My mom thought she was having a heart attack, and the woman thought she was taking gunfire. So you think we all know each other? We absolutely do not. That's what you sounded like.
You're latching on to one little thing I say, and then you want to respond, so you listen to anything else that I say. So we can look into this and see if we could reach the level of probable cause to arrest somebody for this, but if there's no video of the gunfire, it's going to be very difficult. That's ultimately what I'm getting at.
Well, I'm not even talking about arresting. I mean, just ticketing somebody. I think there should be some level of deterrence in saying, you know what, you don't get to go around projecting the sound of automatic gunfire at people you disagree with or at anyone. I mean,
we have to reach probable cause regardless of whether we release somebody or take them to jail. The arrest is the same.
But I'm talking about you're talking about a public disturbance misdemeanor.
No, it's disorderly conduct, which would essentially be, disturbing a lawful assembly, basically creating a ruckus for lack of without.
Disorderly conduct is not a felony.
No.
So there's a lower bar, a lower threshold to meet.
There's no lower bar of whether we have to reach probable cause or not. We have to reach probable cause whether it's a C misdemeanor or an A felony. That does not change.
So the testimony of a couple dozen witnesses doesn't reach that threshold?
Okay, so say we have 100 people, witnesses. They all say the same thing. This blue truck drove by and it was playing loud music. Okay, great. Now who is driving? Who is controlling the music? Who is the passenger? Who is the two passengers in the back?
We have the license plate.
Okay, but you just said you didn't have video of anything but the rolling coal. All the information was about rolling coal.
It's the same driver. I told you we have dozens of witnesses who can attest to that.
Okay.
I mean, I just want to ask you this on a personal level.
How do we confirm or prove
through testimony
beyond a reasonable doubt who the driver was?
Through the license plate.
Okay, but has anyone ever driven your car before? I'm saying this has to be proved beyond a reasonable doubt.
And I'm asking why you're so reticent to follow up on this.
I'm not.
If it had been a hit and run, it wouldn't matter you'd have a license plate number and you'd pursue it.
You're confusing on whether we will try to take action versus what action we will take. You've been arguing with me about why it's not a felonious terroristic threat, and I'm explaining to you why it would be more of a disorderly conduct and what level of threshold that we have to reach to be able to arrest somebody. Not whether we're actually going to try to do something. And
no, I defer to you.
I mean, I've been trying to explain to you.
Yeah, if it's
and you're taking that hesitancy to act, and I'm trying to explain all of these questions that you keep asking me, and trying to help you understand what parameters we have to operate in, and you're not letting me. You're confusing the two with you're getting upset and saying that I just don't want to take action. And
okay, well,
trying to help you understand what we can and can't do.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So for disorderly conduct, what are the parameters?
Well, we have to reach a level of probable cause to arrest somebody, regardless of the crime.
And disorderly conduct is an arrest? It's not just a misdemeanor?
This is where we're a little confused, too, is that all of these are crimes and all of these would result in an arrest. The level of crime dictates, right, is you're confusing the level of crime with actually being arrested. You can be arrested for any crime. The consequence, or I guess the sentence of that crime, or severity, is depending on the action, right? And that's why there's different levels of, like, say, theft 3 is under $100, theft 2 is over 100 but under 1,000, theft 3 is over 1,000, and that would reach a felony. The other two are misdemeanors. Does that make sense? That there's different levels of
Absolutely, crime? Yes, totally.
Right. And what you're explaining happened does not reach any felony crime that I'm aware of, especially not the terroristic threats.
Okay, so if I drive around and I decided to project the sound of automatic rifle gunfire at anyone, that's okay.
I mean, what crime would you be violating?
I mean, you wouldn't be, that wouldn't be considered at the very least disturbing the peace.
Half the music most people play these days is disturbing.
That's an interesting distinction, that in a nation with a mass shooter problem, that you would equate driving around projecting the sound of automatic gunfire with loud music.
Well, I don't create the laws. I'm only.
It doesn't even
allowed to
sound like you follow the laws. I think we're at an impasse here, and if you're not going to let me speak to the chief, I will speak to him on my own terms. You may not think it's a crime, but that's really a sad commentary on the Roseburg PD, that someone can go around pretending to be an active shooter and that you're totally fine with that. Oh, it's just the same as loud music, ma'am. No, it's not the same. People feared for their lives, but you clearly don't care. So I get it, Sergeant Inda. I've got it on record. I've been recording this entire thing. Thank you so much for not helping, and I will call the chief, and if I have to, I'll call the Oregon State Police. Thank you so much for nothing.